Welcome to the Fit for Halter podcast. We're bringing content and community straight to the amateur exhibitor. I'm your host, Amy Zabel, and today we're talking about the amateur halter exhibitor experience. I'm excited to introduce to you Justin Pyle. He's from the Twin Cities area and works in the agriculture industry. So we're just going to hop right in and start hearing from you, Justin, about your story. Can you start by telling us, where did your love for the halter horse come from?
Yeah, it's hard to exactly pinpoint it, but ever since I started kindergarten, my mom and dad, they didn't have horses at the time. My mom grew up with them, and then as soon as I started kindergarten, my mom stayed home because we used to travel all the time with my dad for work. And she said, "I'm having horses if I'm staying home and he's going to school." So from then on, we got quarter horse mares and an Appaloosa stallion, and that's kind of where it all kicked off. I mean, I've memories going back to where my mom would be lunging the horse and I'd be like racing the horse on the outside of the round pen, right? And so from there, it just was kind of ingrained, and it just stuck really, really hard. Of this is a ton of fun. The horses are kind of stressful at times and a lot of work, but so much joy and passion, and honestly, a lot of family time. I related a lot to family time, just being able to have the horses. So I'd say from age 6 onward, it's been in my blood.
Yeah, I can relate. So when did you start showing?
I think the first time I showed a halter class was probably when I was 9. I think we had a horse that my parents got for me. It was a Appaloosa mare. I think her name was Putting on Airs, something like that. We called her Airs. And she had virtually no tail, but a great body. So halter extraordinaire, no tail. At the point in time, we did not have fake tails, and we weren't in that world yet. So I would go out there and show, and I remember we'd show against a local guy, and I'd typically get second out of 2. She was a really nice mare, but we'd always lose. And for me, I was like, oh, this is great. Like, love this. Ton of fun. And then from there, I actually started showing more performance. So I was doing showmanship and stuff through 4-H and Western Pleasure. And I think the first time I showed a breed, I think the first time I showed a breed halter class was at the Appaloosa World Show when I was 20, I want to say. And I'd always made fun of my mom because she'd come out of the arena just dripping sweat, right? I'd be like, "It's so cold in these arenas. Why are you sweating?" And she was like, just you wait. Just wait until you go show. And I came out, and I was just drenched in sweat. And she was like, "See, now you're sweaty, aren't you?" It's like, yeah, nice. I get it now. Yeah. Oh, so I think that was probably 2002 or something like that. No, couldn't have been. 2008.
Okay. So then fast forward to living on your own and working and starting a career. How have you figured out how to balance having a career and showing at the same time?
Yeah, so for me, I feel really fortunate because I live in Minneapolis, or a suburb of Minneapolis. So I don't have any land to keep the horses here with me. So some of them are at my mom's in South Dakota, but we keep a lot of them at Chris Arentsen's actually, kind of year round. And so I'm really fortunate in that regard that we have a really great trainer who's able to maintain our horses and prep them for everything. We used to fit all of our own leading up to when we kind of had a little hiatus from horses because of some family stuff. But, for me, it's not nearly as difficult as I think a lot of people who are doing it on their own, and have a ton of respect for everybody who does it because I know how tough that is. But, for me, it's a matter of just making sure I save my PTO so that I can go to the bigger shows that we're trying to go to, and making sure my bosses are aware. Like, I took a new job last year, and it was in the middle of summer, and I said, "Hey, I have 2 weeks for BHF and WCHA that I'm gonna be gone." Like, there's just no question. It's already in the books. I know I don't have any PTO accrued yet, but I'm gonna be gone for this. So, it's just being upfront and honest with my coworkers. And then, a lot of time they tend to be really interested in it. They don't necessarily understand it until you start showing them pictures and they're like, oh, it's really cool, right? But that's kind of what I found, is just making sure I'm upfront and honest with everybody and kind of what my schedule is going to be, and then just planning ahead to make sure I have the time to take off for those shows.
Yeah. Makes sense. You mentioned the Halter Millions. What was your favorite memory from that show, or most significant kind of learning opportunity you had?
Yeah, significant memory. Two really jump out to me. We were thankful, or luckily enough, my mom and I both got to show in the same class out there, and I was trying to tell her to take the one that we thought was better, and she was trying to make me take the one that she thought was better, because we both want each other to do really well, right? Like, we want each other to succeed, and so it was fun to be out there and be able to go on the rail and just talk to her and hang out while showing, and sharing our passion. So that's definitely a big one. And then a second one has to be being able to go out there and be at the top of the class with our baby gelding. That was pretty exciting. But definitely the family side of getting to show with my mom, that was kind of the biggest one.
Yeah, awesome. What was one of the big things that you learned from that particular show?
Sounds kind of silly, but plan my bathroom breaks better.
Because you stand in the ring for over an hour.
Stand out there forever. And we had quite a few horses that were kind of going back to back to back. And, on that show, arena floor, in the heat of the moment, you don't really think much about it, right? But then you're on the rail and you're just kind of standing there, and all of the, energy and anxiety is kind of out, and you're just able to relax, and you're like, uh-oh. I hope they call these places a little bit quicker, right? And so awesome. In between a couple of the classes, I have to run up the stairwell. A big learning at the Halter Millions, they have that little spiral staircase. Highly recommend it. Goes right up to the bathroom. Big tip.
Yes. It's like a top secret little hideaway, but you're right.
It really is. You feel like you might not make it down with how much the stairs rattle, but
right. But yes.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Well, thanks for sharing your inopportune moments.
Yeah.
So when you're at the horse shows, what's one thing that you have to have with you?
There's a lot of things, but honestly, the biggest one for me is probably an energy drink for the morning. I'm not much of a morning person, so definitely need to have that energy drink in the morning. And then, more just kindness is just having my family around. Horses and family go together for me. So I don't know that I would have the same energy for it if it was just me doing it, but to be able to be there and share the time with my family and friends, like that's pretty special for me. And I think that's kind of a must have for me, because I don't know that it would have the same meaning if I didn't have that.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So you encounter somebody that's brand new to the industry, maybe never been to a breed show before, or maybe been to some open shows, but they're new to being an amateur halter exhibitor. What's some advice that you would offer that person?
Yeah, we've all been there, I think, is the thing that they need to be able to realize and have somebody tell them, right? We've all been in that spot where it's like, oh, should I be here? And that's not just in the horse world, right? That's in everything we do in life. It's everybody's first time is a first time at some point, right? So don't be afraid to go up to somebody and ask a question. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there and go in that class. And hey, you might get first, you might get last, who knows? But you'll never know unless you go out there. And there's nothing wrong with trying, right? We have to keep trying and taking a learning from each one. I mean, an example from my family, the first horse we showed was a leopard stallion back in the day. And I was little, so this was like my mom showing. Dead last in like the first 5 or 6 shows. And that's what she did. She said, hey, I don't know what I don't know. So she went around and asked people, can you give me one tip, just one thing? I mean, there's some pictures, and he wasn't shut out. His mane wasn't banded well. The halter was saggy, right? Like it wasn't the right look. And
the list was long.
Yeah, it wasn't a small list. But over the course of that summer, by the end of the summer, she started to win and get some grands and things like that. So it was just being willing to try and then ask for help. And I think that's the one thing that not only would I ask the person to be asking the questions, but I'd ask our community to offer, not negatively offering, but say like, hey, if you're interested, here's how we band, or here's some grooming products that we really recommend that helps get a shine or helps take the hair coat off or something like that, right? Just a willingness and then an openness on the current folks who are showing, right?
Yeah, it's good. Is there anything else that we as a community can do to help welcome new people?
Yeah, I think it's that welcomeness and just being inclusive to everybody, right? It's saying, hey, remember when you were there? Remember what it would have, like, what would you have liked to have had somebody, and how would you want to be received into the community, right? I mean, it's overwhelming. Even now, if you go down to Halter Millions or BHF, like one of these shows, right? And you walk down and you have your horse in the warm up, or like the little holding pen, right? I mean, it's intimidating, because if you're following halter horses, you see all these different people and you're like, oh, I know who these people are. Like it's nerve-wracking, right? It's intimidating to be in that arena. And realistically, when you start talking to them, they're some of the nicest people that you'll ever meet. And so it's just making sure that we understand that some people can be nervous in that situation. We need to just go up and be welcoming and make them feel as part of the community of halter horses, right? I think that's what's really important.
Yeah, I appreciate what you said. We were new to the industry last year, and we encountered a lot of really nice people. So it made us want to come back.
Yeah, it's not a family, but it's like a second family within the horse world. I mean, that's some of the best times. Growing up, my mom always said it was, and I was like, oh my gosh. I was always like, come on, Mom, let's go. And now I'm the one where she's like, okay, we've talked long enough, like like trying to pull me away. But it's the community, it's just the people, it's the friends you make through the horse shows, and getting to see them a handful of times across the year. It's pretty fun once you like open yourself up and find that it's been opened up to you as well.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing and being willing to come on and just let us hear a little bit about your journey and showing. Appreciate you taking the time.
I appreciate you having me. Just a normal guy here.
Well, aren't we all? Like,
yes.
We're out there trying to do the same things. I'm sure I'll see you in the ring next year. And now I know that I need to plan my bathroom breaks. Thank you for that tip. I love it. Yeah. So thanks for being here. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So that's a wrap for this episode. If you are a person who has a product or service that we can promote on the Fit for Halter podcast, let me know by emailing fitforhalter@gmail.com. Like, share, and spread the word. We are growing something here and look forward to including you in this information and community. So thank you.
Hey, if you're an amateur or a professional willing to share your story or bring content that helps us with our halter horses, you can email me at fitforhalter@gmail.com. If you're willing to sponsor an episode, we would be happy to promote your products and services. You can email me at fitforhalter@gmail.com for more information.